fights after fights after fights because it's a new city. You got fans. Everybody's trying to prove something. Good old days, Bob.
Yeah.
When you have fans in the building, it definitely brings a little more intensity.
Cole Sherwood still bidding for that hat trick. He just had that big shot redirected by Elvis Merzlikins. He and his line mates come back in. Savard breaks a stick. They do keep the puck in the zone, though. Sherwood picks it up off the backhand, plays it to the right wing corner. There's another stick lift. This will allow the white team to break it out. Stenlin.
Oh, nice.
Looking for Seth Jones, didn't connect. Now on the scoreboard and really on the ice, the blue team is dominated except for probably the first, 10 minutes of that second period when the white team was constantly in the offensive zone?
Yeah, white team was constantly in the offensive zone and blue team were on their heels, but yeah, still couldn't score. And then all of a sudden, blue team got the puck a couple of times and scored on every single opportunity. So they've been taking advantage of their opportunities, that's for sure. And that's the story of the Jackets this year, right? A lot of times, and actually over the years, a lot of times Jackets having some chances to score and dominating the game, but not coming up with the big goals. Well, Team Blue right now doing the total opposite.
Right, and you can look at it a couple of different ways. I mean, you could look at the white team and you say, well, you got Cam Atkinson's on that team, and he's a guy that you need to be a big part of this playoff series, and some other guys is Elvis searching for the puck there, and he found it. But, you could look at it with a little bit of alarm, and then you could look at it the other way that you just touched on. That Wenberg, Bemstrom, and Texier line has been just dominant in this game today, and that's a good thing.
It is a really good thing, and like you said, yeah, of course you'd like to see Pierre-Luc Dubois on the score sheet and Cam and Bjorky, but hey, I don't mind seeing Robinson, and that's what's going to take. It's not going to be just these top guys that have to produce, they have to contribute. I get it, but you need those guys on the third line and fourth line to chip in, because in a playoff like that, it's not like, hey, fourth line, third line, I need you at even. If they can bring in a goal or two, it's going to be a big, big difference.
And when you say about you'd like to see some of those guys on the score sheet, in all honesty, they might be on the score sheet because we're just keeping track of the goals, not the assists.
Oh, yeah. That's a
well,
fact.
I know Wenberg has an assist. He just assisted on that Bemstrom goal. That was plain as day. And Bemstrom assisted on his goal, too, so I know those guys have at least 2 points apiece.
So you get great memory, Bob. I don't even know who scored the last goal.
I used to, I remember when I first started doing this, and I would listen to other guys, and they would, like somebody would score a goal, and they would immediately know who got the 2 assists, and I used to think, how in the heck? How'd you pick that up so fast?
Just
because
memory.
of how fast the game moves. But then once you watch about 1,000 of these things, it becomes a lot easier to do. There's a long shot from the right point. Deflects into the corner. We're talking about that Bemstrom-Texier-Wenberg combination. They're back on the ice right now. Wenberg wants to bring it out. Weaving his way through traffic to gain the red line. And then they come off. Ryan McInnes is back out there with Stefan Matteau and Cole Sherwood. There's McInnes looking for a trailer there. Get it back to the blue line. Long shot deflects wide. David Savard playing it right back in. Savard, Gavrikov, they'll be your shutdown pair in this series. They're going to have a lot of work. There's no question. John Tavares, Austin Matthews. Got Nylander and Marner. There will be no lack of offensive players coming at you, courtesy of the Toronto Maple Leafs in this play-in series. The Blue Jackets will start on August 2nd.
Yes, that's a high-octane offense. They like to skate around, make some cute plays. For the Jackets, it's really going to be about plugging that neutral zone, that 1-2-2 is going to be very, very key against Toronto because they can create speed and they can manufacture goals out of nothing.
When we talk about the way that they played against Tampa last year, and even some of the best offensive games, or the best games they played against big offensive teams this year, there's a chance it goes off a stick and high off the glass. It's about taking away the cross-ice passes. You know, you go back to Tampa, and Tampa never made the adjustment on it. Toronto, a similar team, but I got to ask you this. If the Blue Jackets can take away those cross-ice passes, can they make that adjustment? Because they're a younger team. They're I always thought that Tampa they had so many seasoned guys as Werenski fires one toward the net and puts it in. I always thought Tampa would make those adjustments. Toronto's a much younger team. If you get them frustrated, can you have the same or even better success?
You definitely can. And for teams like that, it doesn't matter as a coach because Tampa Bay last year went through 82 games playing their brand of hockey, and you're playing against a Blue Jackets team. You're not going to adjust because hey, I'm the first seed. I'm going to play my game and dictate the pace.
Yeah, we tied a record for wins, right?
Right. And for the Blue Jackets, they knew they had to adjust, and really smart. We talked about John Torella and his staff. They orchestrated a great game plan, and they stuck to it. Tampa Bay never adjusted, and when they decided to adjust, it was too late. So,
Texier just completed his hat trick.
There you go, the hat trick. So for the Blue Jackets, it's going to be the same story against Toronto, and that will frustrate your opponent. And we talk about frustration, teams taking penalties. It's not necessarily about, banging the body and hitting and being overly physical. Just taking away passing lanes will bring frustration to the other team. Because remember a couple years ago, Blue Jackets, when they were playing against Pittsburgh and they lost that series, the Blue Jackets were kind of running around, playing the body, and, Crosby got hit, Malkin got hit. I mean, they were getting crushed physically, but the puck moves faster than a player. And, Pittsburgh just moved on and won the series. Last season against Tampa Bay was a different story. They were physical when needed, but they weren't overly chasing the body and try to hurt guys. It was just smart hockey and plugging the middle.
Yeah, that's a really good point. I think if you go back to the Pittsburgh series there in that first year of this playoff run that they're on right now, they kind of panicked a little bit. I think you're right. And when I say panicked, I mean they felt like they've got to take those guys out of it, right?
Yeah,
They didn't let the Crosbys and Malkins come to them. They went after them, and they paid a price for that.
Yes.
And they adjusted in Washington a little bit, but again, it happened. And I think in that series, in both those series, it was the Blue Jackets that found more frustration and got away from their game, whereas last year, that didn't happen to them in the first round.
Exactly, and it's, the game has changed. The coaching staff obviously has learned from the mistakes in the past, but it makes a big difference. Yeah, you can win the series with physical play, but if you just go physical and the other team doesn't get frustrated, which Pittsburgh is a veteran team, Washington was a veteran team as well, you can adjust pretty quick. It's like, hey, all they're going to do is come, hit you. What are we going to do? Move the puck a little faster.
Yeah.
But when you take the middle away, now you have nowhere to pass the puck, and your frustration is coming, instead of being crushed, body check, it's coming from turnovers after turnovers after turnovers. Next thing you know, you're pressing to get back in the game, and you open things up.
Yeah, and I think one of the guys last year, Nikita Kucherov, just didn't know what to do. He, how to adjust to that. In fact, to the point where he took a stupid penalty and got suspended.
Yeah, on Marcus Nudavara.
Yeah. So, again, when you look at Toronto, Tavares doesn't count. He's a grizzled veteran, that guy. But the other guys, they're young. They're used to being able to do whatever they want to do. So I think the Blue Jackets, their ability to frustrate could be the biggest key in the series.
Exactly.
Blue team up by 5 goals, 9-4. And here's Cam Atkinson trying to separate and get himself on the board. And he separates, but he can't get it by Elvis Merzlikins. Or by, I'm sorry, he's on the other end now. That's Korpisalo, makes a good save there. And Cam didn't have a lot of room. That's classic Cam Atkinson right there. He didn't have a lot of room. He had a guy on him. He still gets a good chance, but give Corpy a lot of credit for shutting that down with the pad.
Yeah, second chance opportunity there for his team. I think it was Boone there on the rebound who couldn't finish, but yeah, this is I like the intensity in this third period there.
Face off here in the right wing circle. White team comes out with it in the corner. Foodie across the ice. Corpusalo easily turns that one away. Blue team on the rush. They had 4 men strong the moment they picked up the puck, bringing it up the ice. Foligno rolls it out to the point. Harrington back on the left side. That one clanged off the skate of Gavrikov. They do keep it alive. Foligno with a no-look drop pass. Riley Nash gladly takes that away. Nash is trying to get out of his own end. Gives it to Robinson. He'll dump it and get a line change here. Just under 12 minutes to go. Bergstrand dropping it off. Harrington looking for a seam, and white team, good job by Seth Jones. He was right on Texier like a blanket there to make sure he didn't get the puck on the stick. Orensky sent it to the top of the left wing circle, and that shot miss. Zach gets it on his stick again. We're talking about all these key contributor guys. Zach Werenski, 20 goals during the regular season. Think he won't be a key contributor against the Leafs?
I'm sure he will.
Again, for a team that struggles to score, and we've seen that, goals from the blue line could be huge in a short series.
Yeah, what a season for Zach. I mean, he missed, 6, 7 games this year already?
Yeah, he had that separated shoulder in that he suffered in the Islanders game early on.
So Jackets played 76 games. So yeah, he scored 20 goals in about 68 games. It's pretty impressive for a defenseman.
Let's see, I actually had this up there. 63 games.
63 games. Wow.
Yeah, 20 goals, 21 assists, +9. Great numbers for Zach. The thing I like the most about Zach is just the progress that he's made. The first year he comes in, let's take it back even a half step further. Leaves Michigan, goes to Cleveland, helps that team win a Calder Cup. Comes in here the first year. They basically let him do whatever he wants to do because he's scoring and making things happen and all that. Then in year 2, he learns how to play through injury. Great pickup and a score right there by David Savard.
Another rebound. Love the rebounds. I love the rebounds.
But, to finish up on Zach, that second year, he unfortunately has to learn to play through injury. Third year, John Tortorella comes out and he says, I want you to play more defense. And that had him screwed up for at least half the year, right?
Yeah, I mean, to the point where Seth actually told Torts to let him handle Zach for a little bit, right?
Yeah, right. So and he's a mess that year, and then near the end, he's figured it out. And then this year, we just told you what the numbers are. This year's been fantastic.
Yeah, absolutely fantastic. He is, sometimes if you're from the old school mentality, which I know you're from, sometimes you can be frustrated to watch because he makes everything look so easy. And even when he's trying, it looks like he's not trying. But that's just his personality. And that's also his strength because he never gets too high, never gets too low. This guy scores a hat trick and he barely cracks a smile, right?
Yes.
And that's what makes him a great pro.
Pierre-Luc Dubois creating some room for himself. Had it knocked away. Good job, though, to drop back and be protected there by the blue team. Make sure there was no odd man rush the other way. And Scott Harrington is a guy that he's always there. Whether he's playing or whether he's in reserve for when they need him. Everybody always counts on Scott Harrington. He's going to play whatever role you give him, even if it's not a game role. he's going to be ready when called upon.
Yes, and that's what makes him, that's why the Jackets signed him to an extension, was it last year, a couple of years ago? He's a guy that knows his role. He's not going to, doopsie doodles through a neutral zone. He's going to keep it simple, good solid first pass, sound defensively, plays within his limits, and the coaching staff appreciates that.
Well, Bemstrom right there was bidding for his second, and that one went off the shoulder of Merzlik, and Elvis was flexing that shoulder a little bit after stopping that shot.
Yeah, those can sting once in a while.
There's that area up there where you don't have a lot of protection once you get up around the shoulder and collarbone, right?
Yes, and the goaltender has been trying to change that rule because, with the league, we want to see more goals, and they limited the size of the padding. And these guys, they get bruised quite a bit up in that shoulder area because they can't have the chest pads that they used to have.
Oh, Korpisalo, a great stop and a perfect rebound that lays right on the doorstep.
Cam on the score sheet.
Great pass by Werenski to set that thing up to begin with. And Cam Atkinson finishes to make it now a 9-5 game.
Well, 7 minutes left. It's never too late. A white team making a late push here. 4-goal deficit.
Never too late in a game where there's not going to be a penalty called, where there's not going to be any offside, there's not going to be any icing. You can just stretch past it all day long if you want to. Sherwood dumps it in. Well, pretty good intensity right there by David Savard. He was not going to let Gus Nyquist have 1 ounce of room trying to make a play. There is a stretch pass.
Nice pass by Savvy there. He had Mateau flying down the middle, couldn't handle the heat.
6 minutes and 5 seconds to go in this final scrimmage of summer camp for the Blue Jackets. Nick Foligno across the ice. Now they'll get it ahead, and a shot by Dubois missed on the short side. Again, during the regular game, that one might have been blown down at the blue line. Not in this game.
Yeah, that's like man's league hockey. You got to call yourself out. In a scrimmage like that, clearly offside. Pierre-Luc still want to finish on this one.
We only had 1 whistle in this game, and that's because 2 guys fell down in the corner. It got a little bit too dangerous even for the likes of Jared Bull. That's the only whistle we've had. Bjorkstrand, flip it ahead. Foligno back to the blue line. Quick shot, and that one's tipped but stopped.
That was Dubois with the nice tip there.
Korpisalo out to play it off the short hop. As the teams make a line change. Andrew Peak getting it to Bemstrom. He was almost going so fast he lost control. Makes a bad pass, and that's going to allow Kevin Stenlund to come on the counterattack. Stenlund drop pass through the legs to Werenski. Zach gets down into the corner. Left wing circle, high slot. Jones with a shot, and that one deflects up and out of play.
Let's try to get that top left corner there. Blocker side, missed by an inch or two. What a rocket. Is it me or Kevin Stenlund looks faster?
He does.
Than before the pause.
He does.
Right?
I had a conversation during the year with Terry Murray, scouts for Colorado, and he's seen him a lot in the American League. And we talked about that. And his theory was it's kind of his build,
right?
Because he's so kind of tall and lanky. It looks like he's not moving fast, but he is moving fast. It's just longer strides. Does that make sense to you?
Yeah, no, it makes perfect sense. His legs aren't necessarily moving that fast, but he doesn't need to because they're big, long legs. No, he's no Connor McDavid, but he's definitely not slow. Because I always heard the knock on Kevin Stenlund was his skating, but he looks faster, that's for sure.
I said Terry Murray, Terry Martin. What am I thinking? I'm thinking of old. We were talking about coaches earlier, and I'm way off base here today. I've got about a week to get it together here.
Right.
Less than a week to get it together. That's why I wanted to do a scrimmage today, Jean-Luc, to at least have sense of what the heck I was doing next week.
Well, can you call the last 3 minutes from your video monitor?
No, not without numbers on the back.
That's going to be the biggest adjustment right there.
Yeah. I thought you were going to say, can you call the last 3 minutes by yourself? And I was going to say, well, yeah, because I'm going to do every game by myself.
Can you call it in French?
Oui, oui. That's about the extent of it for me. Under 3 minutes to go here. David Savard pulls up. And Savard ahead. Yeah, do you think should I tease Jeff Rimmer about this too today and say I had to do the scrimmage game with no numbers on the back? At least you got the uniforms.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Yeah, he had it easy. They had the regular uniforms on. 2-on-1 here. Gus Nyquist with a shot and a save made by Corpusalo, and a great job to gather in that rebound. Corpy stops it. Again, he's given up 5 goals in this game, but I think he's looked sharp today.
Yeah, he's definitely looked sharp. What I like is that, again, these guys going back to rebounds. He's controlling his rebounds, and if he doesn't, he's the first to it. So the white team never really had any great rebound opportunities because he's quick reacting to the initial stop, even if it's not like in his glove or in his chest.
There's Gus Nyquist ahead, off the stick there. Riley Nash, shot taken on Elvis, and Ryan McInnes couldn't get it by him. Riley Nash on the counterattack. Got a man driving the net. That's Robinson. Takes a shot himself, and Corpusalo fights it off. Nash able to make the steal again. Stephon Matteau peeling away from some pressure. Down to 1:10 to go. Seth Jones, good job to force a turnover there. Sends it to the blue line, and Glendening had to go off the inside of his skate. Kind of flexing the right foot there a little bit, but stays on the ice.
And that 2-on-1 there with Riley Nash, Eric Robinson looked like he shot out of a cannon. He is so fast.
Now, that last play, had it been a game, they would have taken a shot. Now made 4 passes, but here comes Dubois with an opportunity. Slides it across, and that one is buried. Oliver Bjorkstrand, just for good measure, makes it double digits for the blue team.
10-5. Remember last scrimmage, I said I hope it's more than 3 goals today. Well, we got plenty today. I'm actually running out of room. My sheet, check this out. Can you see this?
Oh, you are actually writing it down. I'm impressed. Now the blue team will bring it back in, and time is going to run out on this summer camp, the Columbus portion of this summer camp for the Blue Jackets. Team Blue, a convincing 10-5 win here today over Team White. Again, Corpusalo looks sharp in this one today. The Texier, Wenberg, Bemstrom line, extremely impressed with the way that they played in this one. And so that's it, John-Luc. That's going to do it for the Blue Jackets here on the ice at the Ice House. As I said earlier, that won't happen again. They won't skate here again until the next preseason camp, which, as it stands right now, is scheduled for sometime in November. But there is much work for them to do between now and then.
Yes, that was definitely fun to cover. It is so weird right now to watch this, and it's like, okay, guys, we'll see you again in November. Maybe,
we'll see you when we see you, right?
It's unbelievable.
Yep. So that's how this one ends today. Again, a lot of players that can take positives out of this to go into getting ready for the exhibition game against the Boston Bruins. Can you narrow it down? If I ask you to say, who's one guy you were most impressed with today? Is there one guy?
Can I go to one line?
Yeah.
For me, it's definitely the Texier, Bemstrom, and Wenberg line. I think Texier started early on a line with Dubois and Bjorkstrand, and there's something that the coaching staff didn't like. They moved them down with Wenberg and Bemstrom, and that line is really, really playing well. And today, again, they got, 4 or 5 goals for Team Blue?
Yeah. So And, when you talk about moving him off that line, I wonder if that was a little bit too rich for him. And I don't mean that as a knock on Alexander Texier. I mean, if you're playing with Pierre-Luc Dubois on this team, you're considered the top line. And Oliver Bjorkstrand's your top scorer, so he's on that line, okay. But having Nick Foligno there gives you a little bit more sense of maybe safety. He's very responsible defensively. I'm not saying that Texier isn't, but he still, for all intents and purposes, is a rookie. Gives you that veteran presence and a guy you know what you're going to get out of him every time he hits the ice.
Yeah, it does, because so you got Bjork, he really had his breakout year this year, so fairly young guy. Pierre-Luc Dubois is a young guy. Now you had a third guy that's, very young in Texier. It makes it maybe a little too rich for his blood, so bring a little veteran presence there with Nick Foligno, who's a veteran. And he's got a good scoring touch. Nick Foligno didn't score at will this year, but we saw it today in the scrimmage. He got a few nice moves still left, and he wants to win that cup as well. So bring the veteran on that line, and then move down Texier with Wenny and Bemstrom. I think the chemistry is definitely there.
Now, here's going to be the next debate as we go along. If these lines stay intact or how long they stay intact. What's the second line? Is the Wenberg line the second line?
Right now,
the Boone Jenner, Cam Atkinson, Nyquist line the second line?
Yeah, right now, to me, the Boone Jenner line would be the third line, and I'd probably put that Wenberg, Texier, and Bemstrom as the second line from what I saw today, anyway. I like their speed, I like their execution, and the chemistry is great as well. So I would say, let's say 2A, 2B there.
Well, this is what I'll say before we wrap this up. When a John Tortorella team is operating at its peak, and I'm talking about a John Tortorella Blue Jackets team, when they're operating at their peak, line 1 and line 4, there's not a lot of distinction between them because they can be interchangeable. That's what we've seen from this team in the past 3 playoff runs. You can designate because Dubois is on that line, it's number 1, but if they're not getting the job done, somebody else is going to get the opportunity. When it's balanced is when it's best.
Balance is key because you're going into this playoff. It's going to be short. It's going to be quick, high energy, hopefully. And we don't know where the conditioning level is for the Blue Jackets compared to other teams. So you don't want to overtax your guys' first, second line and be on the ice all the time. So you'll want that third and fourth line to finish and be able to, produce offensively and eat a lot of ice time as well. And it's going to be the same thing for the defensive group.
All right. Well, it was great working with you, my friend. I appreciate it. Good job here today and throughout this camp. I will be seeing you soon, right back
Very
here.
soon.
We'll be back here somewhere in the bowels of Nationwide Arena to bring you that exhibition game against the Boston Bruins. Again, Jean-Luc's going to join me and Jody Shelley and Jeff Rimmer for our playoff preview show, which will be Monday night at 7 o'clock on the Blue Jackets Radio Network. So you can make a note of all of that. And thank you for joining us, not just today, but through this entire camp. If you were one of those people that were standing outside the windows and watching, or maybe today that brought the sign for the support for the boys before they take off for Toronto, thank you very much. You're the lifeblood, and it really, really stinks that you're not allowed in the building here or anywhere right now. But we know that you're there. We're glad that you're there. I'm glad to have you as a podcast audience and a radio audience, and Jean-Luc is the same with you being a TV audience. So you are appreciated. Glad you got to enjoy this with us for the past couple of weeks, and we look forward to bringing you much more as the Blue Jackets get set to take on the Toronto Maple Leafs. That's going to do it for Jackets TV Daily, presented by OhioHealth. For Jean-Luc Grandpierre, I'm Bob McElligott saying so long.